Two skinheads board the bus, zero in on an old black guy, start barking. Tell him to move his black ass, call him deaf, old woman, whatever.
Old fucker, put that geriatric ass before I kick it.
Old man tells them to leave him alone. One punk leans in closer. Old man slaps him clean across the face. Both thugs lose it, lunge to stomp him. Frank stands, tells them there's 2 free seats in the back. Take those and quit bothering the man. They turn on him instead, laugh, tell him to stand up so they can kick his ass sitting or standing. Frank sighs, says he don't want trouble. They keep coming. He drops the first with 1 shot, folds the second before the guy knows what happened. Bus goes nuts clapping. Somebody's phone already caught everything. Clip blows up overnight. Frank don't even know what viral means. Next day his beard's on walls. Strangers chase him down the block yelling his name. 60-something Vietnam vet turned internet star in one bus ride. Since that day, nothing stays the same. Frank grows up broke on a 60-acre California farm with just his parents and a ton of chores. Sunrise to sunset fixing fences, hauling hay, whatever needs doing. Life's plain, but he don't mind. Simple feels good. Senior year, he burns a defender on an angle route, catches the winning touchdown, brings home the state championship, starts going steady with Lindsay, the hottest girl he's ever laid eyes on. They talk marriage like it's already done. Then the army letter comes. He tells Lindsay it's nothing. Quick trip overseas, back in no time, swears on it. 7 years later, he's still there, 6, crawling through jungle mud, one locked in a bamboo cage, getting fists, boots, whatever they feel like that day. Bullet finally punches his ticket home. Hospital spits him out. First stop is Lindsay's old address. Door swings open. A little boy runs up asking mama to make lunch. Lindsay steps out behind the kid, married, moved on, whole new family. Frank just stares. Clock ticks. Everything he kept himself alive for just evaporated. Personal life's toast. He turns around, limps away, decides the only thing left is whatever job will have a busted-up vet. Frank figures the police academy owes him a slot. 7 years in hell, medals, scars. They look at the limp and the medical file. Stamp, nope. Door closes. He hits interviews anyway. Same loop every time. Guy behind the desk asks about business experience. Frank shrugs, says high school, then straight to Vietnam. That ate everything. They nod. Ask if he used the GI Bill for college. He didn't. They smile. Say the job just got filled 5 minutes ago. Doors keep closing. Rent don't care. One morning, he's on the corner with a cart, flipping dogs, slapping on ketchup and mustard, handing change to strangers who mumble, "God bless." 40 years later, that cart is still his office. Then, one random bus ride flips everything. 2 skinheads jump on, start mouthing off at an old black passenger, ready to swing. Frank stands, tells them to knock it off. They turn on him instead, begging for it. Few seconds later, both are on the floor. Bus explodes in cheers. Phone's already up. Next day, the clip owns the internet. They call him badass. Face on walls, face on shirts. Cops roll up smiling, give him rides home like he's one of them. Reporters shove mics in his grill. Strangers want selfies. His mom watches every news segment, eyes shining. Tells the camera the world needs more men like her boy. She says she loves him. He just nods. 3 months later, she's gone. Funeral small. Priest reads the usual dust-to-dust lines. Lawyer reads the will. House, jewelry, clothes, and one yapping dog named Daxter now belong to Frank. Cops drop by the house after, hand him a framed photo of his own fist hitting a skinhead, tell him call anytime. He thanks them. Frank's only family left is Klondike, fellow Nam vet, same busted-up soul. They move into the big house together, unpack boxes, crack beers, laugh about jungle nightmares, and 90-kilo whores with machine guns. Klondike gets misty, tells Frank he's the only brother he's got, thanks him for the roof, says Frank saved his life back in the shit and he owes him forever. They toast to finally catching a break now that Frank's the local hero. Before heading out for smokes, Klondike hands Frank a tiny flash drive, asks him to lock it in the old safe. Frank squints at the thing like it's alien tech. Klondike steps out the corner store. 2 punks in a car roll up fast, shove a gun in his face, demand the drive. He plays dumb. 1 second later, both thugs are on the pavement.
I got the goddamn thing right here, man.
Klondike turns to walk away. Bullet catches him in the back, drops him cold. Cops call Frank down to the morgue. Sheet pulls back. Klondike on the slab. Frank stares, signs the papers, tells the detective to find the bastards who did this. They nod, say they'll try. Frank walks out of the morgue alone, flash drive burning a hole in his pocket. He heads straight for the corner store a few blocks over. Needs something cold to kill the taste of the day. Cash register rings up 12:59. Wallet short. He asks the clerk to float him the rest till tomorrow. Clerk shakes his head, says he can't give stuff away. 3 punks burst in, guns out, screaming for the register. Clerk empties the drawer fast. One thug turns on Frank, tells the old man to beat it. Frank don't. 30 seconds later, all 3 are on the floor groaning. Frank pays what he's got, grabs his bottle, walks out like nothing happened. Half a block later, his neighbor stops him, tells him sorry about Klondike, says her brother got killed 2 streets over. Same style hit. She spits that cops don't do jack, calls them crooked, says nobody's ever safe around here anymore. Frank just nods, mutters the police are doing what they can. She shakes her head, calls him Mr. Vega, tells him God bless. Frank heads home after the neighbor chat, bottle in hand. He plants himself on the porch steps, takes a pull, stares at the dark street. Cop buddy rolls up in the cruiser, spots him, asks if he wants a lift somewhere. Frank waves it off, says he's good, got priorities like this drink. Cop chuckles, says he heard about the liquor store beatdown. Looked like Frank wiped the floor with those punks. Tells him to ease up. Violence keeps finding him like he's Charles Bronson. Frank shrugs it off, asks straight up if they caught Klondike's killers. Cop says no, they're working it. Too many murders, not enough hands, gotta be patient. Frank calls it bullshit. Cop promises to swing by tomorrow for a proper ride-along, no dodging. Frank nods, heads inside as the car pulls away. Flips on the TV. Hockey wins down. News hits. White kid Justin Wheely robbed, beaten, stabbed over his wallet. Cops snag the guy in under 24 hours. Chief brags about 20 detectives cracking it fast. Next morning, Frank storms the precinct, grills the desk sergeant on why Klondike's file collects dust. Sergeant repeats the mantra, doing our best, Mr. Vega. Frank ain't buying. Says if his friend was a different color, the perps would be done. Sergeant gets prickly, says he's native, asks if Frank means he's racist. Frank doubles down, calls him sheep in the system. Sergeant warns him to step back. Don't let feelings jam the works, let them handle it. He turns, heads into the back office, starts tossing a mini basketball with the other cops, laughing it up. Frank watches through the glass a second, decides right there he'll get justice for Klondike himself. Frank hits the spot where Klondike got dropped, digs around the gutter, comes up with one spent casing, a cheap chain, and a necklace holding a photo of some girl. He walks the casing straight to the only gun shop in town. Owner spins it in his fingers, says it's 9mm from a Beretta M9, 15-round mag, military or Fed-only stuff. He ain't sold any, ain't got any, and he's the only game around. Frank shows the necklace. Owner squints, says the girl looks like the wife of a dude named Taryn who lives a few blocks over. Yellow pickup out front, hard to miss. Frank knocks. Tired woman with a baby on her hip answers. Says Taryn ain't been home in forever. 3 kids crying for daddy while he's out somewhere. Last sighting was over a week ago. Friends saw him shooting hoops at 22nd Street Park. She tells Frank if he finds the deadbeat, tell him he can drop dead. Frank heads toward the courts. Ballers ignore his questions about Terrence. Tell him to beat it. He asks again, nicer. They laugh. One threatens to kill him for the ball. Frank sighs, steps in. Fists fly quick. Couple guys hit the blacktop holding jaws. Attitude flips fast. They cough up a name. Ronaldo. Apartments on 85th. He'll know where Terrence hides. Frank rolls to the building. Knocks. Door cracks. Dude in full priest collar swings a bat. Thinks he's catching a burglar. Frank blocks, pins the guy, explains he just wants Ronaldo. Priest wannabe drops the act, says it's theater costume, rehearsal in 20, then points down the block. Ronaldo drinks breakfast every morning at the Velvet Scorpion Bar. Frank lets him go. Night settles. Frank's on the porch when next door explodes. Guy screams at his wife, calls her every name, smacks her hard enough to split lip. Little boy watches. Husband storms off cursing. Woman stands there bleeding. Frank walks over, asks if she's okay. She says, yeah, lie's bad. He tells her to come inside. He'll fix the face so the kid don't see it worse. Inside, Frank cleans the cuts, packs ice, cracks open Hungry Man dinners. Amber and Martin sit at the table. Kid loosens up first, starts roasting Frank about living in the Stone Age. Frank fires back about Western Union and Gary Coleman. They all laugh. For a couple hours, the house don't feel empty. Morning hits. Frank walks into the Velvet Scorpion right when the doors open. Downstairs, crowd spots the old man, starts growling. Couple guys stand up. Frank puts 3 on the floor before the rest back off.
So you're that badass dude. See what type of badass you are.
It don't have to be this way.
Oh yeah, it does.
Bartender just points upstairs, says, "Don't wreck the place." Frank climbs. Ronaldo's at a table nursing coffee. Frank asks about Terrence. Ronaldo plays dumb, then flashes a blade fast. Knife don't help. Frank grabs him, flips him half out the second-story window, lets him dangle by the collar. Air changes real quick. Ronaldo coughs up the info. Terrence been messing with a girl named Tatiana, works the massage parlor on 10th Street. That's all he knows. Frank apologizes to the ladies at the next table for the noise, walks out calm. Frank steps off the sidewalk toward home. Cruiser cuts him off. 2 cop buddies climb out, faces tight. Words all over town about the old man leaving bodies in bars and courts. Chief almost signed a warrant. They barely talked him down. Frank shrugs, says he ain't waiting while they sit on their hands over Klondike. Cop warns him this ain't his lane. Keep rolling, and they're done covering. Frank tells them he don't want their help anyway. Turns, walks through his gate. House is torn apart. Before he can blink, Big Arm locks his neck from behind. Tall guy growls for the flash drive Klondike carried. Frank plays dumb. Elbow, twist, grab. Dude flies straight through the living room window, crashes onto the front lawn in a shower of glass. Next morning, he knocks on Amber's place, finds Martin home alone, asks the kid to open the flash drive. Martin plugs it in. Screen lights up with a Crestview neighborhood map. Building permits, contact list. One name jumps. Panther. Frank mutters about Klondike's mess, can't connect the dots yet. Afternoon rolls. Frank hits the 10th Street parlor, books Tatiana. She oils him up, asks why he picked her. He says straight, hunting Terrence. She freezes, says they split. Won't help, bolts mid-session. Shift ends. Frank tails her bus to a rundown block, watches her slip inside. He waits dark, tries the window quiet. Neighbor's flashlight hits him, yells about lost keys, demands he step closer or get shot. Frank freezes. Guy squints, recognizes the beard from TV, turns fanboy fast, calls him badass, raves about the bus clip, tells him keep dropping punks, lets him slide, even tips that Tatiana always leaves the back door unlocked. Frank nods, thanks, circles around. Frank slips through the back door, climbs the stairs quiet. Bedroom doors cracked. Tatiana and Terrence tangled on the sheets. Terrence spots him, scrambles for a pistol on the nightstand. Too slow. Frank's on him, slams the gun hand, drags the guy naked into the kitchen. Terrence hits the counter hard. Frank jams his right hand straight into the garbage disposal, flips the switch. Blades spin up. Terrence screams like hell. Frank asks who killed Klondike. Terrence spits curses. Switch flips again. More screaming. He cracks fast. Says Sebastian pulled the trigger. They were just following orders. Frank wants the boss. Terrence shakes his head. Switch flips a 3rd time. Fingers start turning to mush. Name finally drops. Panther. Meet happens tomorrow night at the Bergamot Loft. Frank lets go. Terrence collapses on the tile. Hand shredded. Blood pooling. Frank wipes the switch. Walks out. Frank pulls up just as the husband's yelling turns ugly again. Guy's got Amber by the arm, screaming if she's screwing the old neighbor. Frank steps in, tells him to let go and leave. Husband swings wild. Frank catches the wrist, twists hard, tells him he don't deserve the family. Clean his crap and disappear. Husband curses, but leaves. Amber hugs Frank tight, says he looks dead on his feet, tells him grab a nap, then come eat. Martin's sleeping over at a buddy's. Frank actually showers, digs out his one good suit, even buys flowers on the way back. Amber opens the door, eyes go wide. They eat in the backyard garden, food homemade and hot. Frank says it hits like his mom's cooking. She admits it's nice feeding someone who digs it. Says the man she married used to be fun, exciting, but that guy's long gone. They toast to Martin. She calls Frank sweet under the tough shell. Air thickens on the terrace, almost a kiss. Door slams. Martin's home early, but he got drunk. Mom sent him packing. Kid brings cake, starts busting Frank's old suit, calls it Salvation Army Special, sets up Facebook, shows 50 friend requests piling up, front door's still busted, needs hinges tomorrow. Frank says stay at his place tonight, better than no lock. Frank meets his cop buddy on the street, hands over the flash drive, tells him it's loaded with secret crap that got Klondike smoked. Cop asks what's next. Frank shrugs it off, says he's handling it, but if things go south, look after the dog Baxter. Cop pockets the drive, heads off for coffee. Frank turns the other way, walks straight to the local church, sits in the confessional booth, tells the priest it's been years since last time, since his dad died. Priest says spill the sins. Frank admits his life's been crap. full of regrets. But tonight, he's doing something the big guy upstairs won't like. Priest presses for details. Frank says it's payback for his brother's murder. Priest stays quiet a beat. Frank crosses himself, stands, walks out into the afternoon light. Frank heads to the Bergamot loft that night. Guards block the door. Tell him Panther ain't seeing nobody. Frank shouts his name. Panther steps out, recognizes the voice, lets him in. Panther says Klondike stole something big, got punished for it, demands the flash drive. Frank plays dumb. Thugs tie him to an old electric chair, crank the juice. Frank grits through it, tells them the drive's up their ass. Panther explains the drives got dirt on a city deal for oil wells. Big money, community good. Frank calls it bullshit. More shocks. Frank holds out. Panther loses patience, grabs his wallet, sees the address, figures there's a girl there, heads out to check himself. Leaves Frank strapped in. Frank fishes a matchbox from his pocket, strikes one on the rope, burns free. Explosion rocks the place. He grabs Panther's keys, but Panther's already rolling. Fist fight breaks out. Panther grabs a blade from the floor, slashes Frank's side, bolts. Panther jacks a city bus, boots the driver, guns it. Frank spots another, asks the driver nice. Guy recognizes him, hands over the wheel grinning. Chase kicks in. Panther taunts, rams head on. Frank swerves last second, his bus flips. Panther slams into a freight train. Both crawl out wrecked but breathing. Panther runs. Frank limps after. Halfway there, Frank runs into the skinheads from the bus clip. They're pissed, say he ruined their lives. Got them kicked from the gang, girlfriends dumped, everybody mocks them. Plan to film payback. Frank drops all three fast, says can't wait to see that footage. Panther's already at the house, knife on Amber, demanding the drive. Frank bursts in, slams him into the wall. Fight spills outside. Frank hits the pavement hard. Panther goes for the kill. Amber jumps his back, claws in. Frank gets up, finishes him with one clean shot. Neighbors clap. Amber asks if she can patch his wounds like he did hers. Next day news hits. Badass uncovers corruption tying the mayor to the country's nastiest gang. Mayor denies, says he'll beat the charges. Frank gets honorary cop badge, heads community outreach. Tells the camera he waited 40 years. Proud now. Back home, Amber cooks big. Martin asks about girlfriends. Frank says he's got 2. Player status. Kid wants torture details. Amber shuts it down. Guy stuff. Frank calls it his best day ever.